Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, there is a lot of pushback happening around the country. In WA, I'm about to have a conversation with Nick Goiran. I mentioned that there was a lot of pushback against the cultural heritage laws earlier this year. It basically spelled the end for Albo's voice proposal. So thank you, WA, for taking one for the team. In a sec, Nick Goiran, member of the upper house in WA from the Liberal Party, he's going to hop on. I call him Brave Nick Goiran because he's one of the people that stood up against the idiocy in WA from Mark McGowan. And he was often a lone voice when it came to that particular battle. But I'm here, I'm going to be bringing Nick on, and we're going to be discussing some of the things that have been going on in WA, how to fight back, how to actually start, fighting Labor with the upcoming election that's going to be happening. I do believe it's in 2025 for a WA in March 2025 about, and really working out how do we start setting the agenda on this particular topic in WA. I will be bringing other people on from other states like Sarah Game in South Australia, Queensland how to fight back, New South Wales how to fight back, Victoria how to fight back, and I've got some good news on Victoria and Tasmania as well. But when it comes to fighting back in this country, remember to take the win on the weekend. Remember the majority of people are on your side when it comes to what's going on. And, when it comes to bringing people into the actual debate and fighting back, you've got to keep the faith. Rebellions are built on hope after all, as a Star Wars reference. And if we just lean into no hope at all, then we don't get any at all. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome Nick Goiran. Nick, you've got a number of people watching live right now. I've just given them the brief. So what's your initial reaction to WA overwhelmingly voting against the voice in WA?
Well, it's been incredibly encouraging, Joel. I know you were one of the first Australian political commentators to come out early and predict that this would be a distinct possibility. So I commend you on your foresight in that regard, but also for you, your followers, and every fair-minded Western Australian, and in fact every fair-minded Australian, for the vote that they cast on the weekend. It's hardly surprising in Western Australia, it must be said, particularly after the shambolic rollout of the Aboriginal cultural heritage laws over the course of this year. So yeah, very, very pleased that this occurred, and pleased, if for no other reason, that common sense has prevailed. But equally, there is a part of me that is sad about this. Sad for two reasons. One, the incredible waste of expenditure, the incredible waste of people's time. I mean, I was there handing out how to vote cards on the weekend. It's not the most exciting thing to be handing out a how to vote card to somebody to explain to them how to spell the word no. Incredible waste of expenditure, incredible waste of people's time, but also the divisiveness. And this was all done because of the stubbornness of Prime Minister Albanese. He could easily have gone and tried to achieve something on a bipartisan basis, perhaps just for simple recognition in the Constitution. No, he insisted on this catastrophic voice. So yeah, very pleased that common sense prevailed, but with elements of sadness about the waste and the divisiveness.
No, absolutely. I mean, the idea that we spend $500 million just on the referendum and the Electoral Commission didn't do a very good job, I totally agree with you there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening right now, we are being heavily censored. Please give this a share. Please get this out there. And don't forget to follow Nick Goiran on his social media. So Nick, WA, as I said before you hopped on, you guys really took one for the team. I think that when it came to the Cultural Heritage Act and the groundswell of opposition to that in your state, it was really amazing because I'd never seen people rally like that in WA in a very long time. And it was so encouraging, but so threatening to Albo that he basically, it seemed as though he pulled in the head of the new Premier and said, you better get this under control before the voice vote. I mean, what's the dynamic there? What ended up happening with that particular vote? Was the legislation repealed? What's the path from here?
Yeah, look, thanks for those questions, Joel. They're really, really important because there's still a lot of misunderstanding, not only in Western Australia, but across Australia. As we're having this live chat now, I'm in the WA Parliament. Today is the last sitting day of the month of October. We won't be back then for another couple of weeks. As I sit here now, that shambolic Aboriginal cultural heritage law remains the law in Western Australia. Now, this was the law that we had expressed concerns about. It got bulldozed through Parliament in 2021. When I say bulldozed, it means that it was introduced, first read, second read, third read in the lower house in a single day, completely contrary to parliamentary law. It got bulldozed in 2021. Concerns continued to raise when it then was clear that it was going to be implemented from the 1st of July this year. There was an uproar. Those of us who continued to raise concerns were referred to by Premier Roger Cook as dogs. We were told that we were dogs returning to our vomit. Others referred to us as racists for raising these concerns. A massive petition, an official parliamentary petition was tabled in the Parliament. To put it in some kind of context for you, the average for a petition in Western Australia is about 3,000 signatures. This one had more than 29,000 signatures. A breathtaking record for an electronic petition in Western Australia. Still then, the government doubled down. They said, no, we're going to go ahead with this. In the month of July, the Aboriginal Affairs Minister, Tony Booty, he said everything was going smoothly. We had a farcical situation where local governments had to call off tree planting exercises because people were not sure whether they had to consult with so-called local knowledge holders about whether this was permissible, what fees would be applicable for surveys and the like. Very begrudgingly, in the beginning of August, the Premier then came out and said that he would repeal the law. The problem, Joel, is that people heard that, and mainstream media have got a lot to answer for here. They kept saying that the law has been repealed. Well, that is absolute garbage, because I'm here at the WA Parliament right now. What is it? The 19th of October, 2023, and it's still the law.
Right.
Now, 2 days ago, finally the law passed through Parliament. That's the repeal. But in another breathtaking example of arrogance by the Cook Labor government, they insisted that the bill pass through Parliament with a special clause that allows them, executive government, to decide when the repeal will happen. So it's still the law in Western Australia. The shambolic law is still here. Nothing has changed. And we need to continue to put the pressure on Roger Cook to make it clear that we want this repealed.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people, they forget that the establishment, when they cop a big loss, it's not over. You've got to keep the pressure on, because that's the time when they advance a lot of their plans without you realizing, once you all go home. We've seen this with Brexit. We've seen this with the Voice rollout across the states. Now, I reject any sentiment where people feel disheartened. There's a lot you can do to actually fight back against this, guys. And if there's one thing that it proved on the weekend, the people are on your side. The people are pissed off, and the people aren't happy, especially in WA, with what's been going on. So I'll have more resources for the other states to talk about this particular stuff. But for WA, Nick, quick segment for them. What can people do in WA to keep in touch with you, and how can they fight back?
Yeah, look, there's a couple of campaigns that we're running here in Western Australia at the moment, Joel. One is to continue to put the pressure on Premier Roger Cook and his Minister, Tony Booty, to actually now repeal this shambolic Aboriginal cultural heritage law. Should have already been done. I mean, it's quite unbelievable that they voted against the motion by the opposition to expedite that repeal. So people should contact the Premier. They should contact Minister Booty and insist that they repeal this law. That's one thing that they can do. But also you'll see, Joel, on my Facebook page, that what we have now is a very important campaign. And we do not want the Western Australian Constitution to be changed by the Cook Labor government. they have had 2 senior members of their cabinet in February this year say that they are certainly and absolutely in favour of creating a voice to the WA Parliament. And so this campaign is an official parliamentary petition calling for no change to the WA Constitution. I mean, this should go without saying, Joel. I mean, it's unbelievable. More than 60% of Western Australians said no on the weekend to a change to the Commonwealth Constitution. It follows that we have got no appetite for changing the WA Constitution. When I've asked in question time this week, Roger Cook, about this and other matters, we are told that it's not currently on the agenda of the government. Now, why that should concern Western Australians is that Mark McGowan, the previous Premier, he said that it was not on the agenda to change the electoral laws. And within months of saying that, he went and blasted a bill through the Parliament anyway. Right. So when they say not on the agenda, that means it's not happening today, but it's just as likely to happen in a few months' time. So we need this petition up and running. And I think we've got more than 5,000 signatures at the moment, which is very encouraging, but the more the merrier.
All right, guys, well, click the link in the description if you want to actually sign that petition if you're in WA, only if you're in WA. But Nick, if people can follow you, they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere else?
Yeah, certainly on Facebook, and obviously I've got my webpage as well where people will be able to subscribe to the largest growing group of subscribers to the weekly email every Friday morning, 6:15 WA time.
Phenomenal. And when is your next state election?
March 2025. So
Beautiful.
Next year will be the big campaign year.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in WA, if you're not in a political party, I encourage you, join a political party, get behind good Liberals like Senator Antic, Senator Rennick, Matt Canavan if you're in the Nationals, Nick Goiran if you're in WA, Tanya Davies if you're in New South Wales. But if you're inclined to join a minor party, they work in tandem with good Liberals as well, like Sarah Game in fighting against this in South Australia from One Nation, or Ralph Babbitt in Victoria, or who else have we got? John Ruddick for the Liberal Democrats in New South Wales. But what we need is more civic engagement, more political power, so that we can force Albo to the table, and if he doesn't come to the table, you push him out. And the same goes for the state premiers and the local level councils that are spending your tax dollars inefficiently. Nick, God bless you. Thank you so much for your time. I hope we can do this again very soon so that people can stay informed. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to this now, save it, send it to your family chats on WhatsApp, send it to everyone you know, share it around. The voice fight, it's now moved to a state level, and we've got to continue this fight. Otherwise, eventually over the weekend, they will be back with another referendum, maybe even on the Republic. But I'll see you guys later. Nick, thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thanks, Joel.
All right, see you guys.